Welcome to Spoonful of Ohm's mini yin class with Gina. And we'll come into our next pose. You'll actually need a blanket for this one, or if you have one of those foam rollers, that will work as well. So what we're gonna do is create this like pretty much a foam roller with the blanket, or this log shape. I'm gonna fold it a different way so I can have a better shape to my blanket. So we'll take that and you can lie it down. So we're going to come over, the side of the body is going to come over the blanket. So where your waist is, you're going just above that. So not exactly where the indent of the waist lies, but just slightly above it is going to be where your bolster or blanket is. And then let your bottom arm be straight out. And your legs can be bent in a little bit. You have your legs straight if that feels comfortable. So we're beginning to work up through the meridian lines. So in yin yoga and in Chinese medicine, they go by meridian lines sort of like the chakras in Ayurveda, or the energy centers that run along the spine that you might have heard of. So it's similar but a little bit different. And these meridian lines move through the body and correlate to different organs. And so as we release them and stretch into those spaces, we can help move that energy or chi through the body in a better way. And remember also that in yin yoga, we move into stretching the fascia and not necessarily stretching directly into the muscle. So we kind of move beyond the muscle, and that's why sitting here in stretches for a longer amount of time moves from the muscle into the fascia, and we start to work on that a little bit more. So you can think of fascia as like if you had a little knot in, I don't know, say your right shoulder. That knot or tension or tightness there in your fascia can have an effect in your left hip. Right? It's almost like a sheet or cloth, and everything's connected. So if there's a wrinkle in one side, it kind of permeates. Almost like when you drop a pebble in water, it kind of, you see the ripple effect. So we're about halfway through now. You can stay here. If you want to create a little more intensity in the stretch, you can reach your right arm overhead and maybe just bring your palms toward each other. So not with any engagement or clasping, just let the fingertips of the right hand or your top arm fall over the fingertips of your bottom arm or hand. Notice if you start to tense anywhere in the side body, in the neck, even in the legs. And keep in mind if there's any pain that's coming up while staying here, especially if you're on a foam roller because they're really a lot firmer. You can move yourself out of the pose at any point. taking a nice deep inhale. And use your top arm to begin to press down into the floor and come back up to sit. Remembering to move nice and slowly because we were there for a while, so our body kind of gets used to that pose and position. You can lift your head up last. And then for your counter pose for this one, maybe you'd like to turn and twist to the opposite side of where you were lying on. And then moving towards center and turn toward the side that you were lying on. And the option to stretch your legs out, maybe begin to fold yourself forward over top of the legs. Getting a little flexion and rounding in the spine. So you don't have to create this length as much here. It's always an option to come into more of like a yang type pose or an energetic pose like up dog or down dog. But again, remember you can come into anything that feels good to you. So these are just options that I'm telling you. But for the counter poses, really just do any pose you'd like. So maybe you want to bring the hands behind you and lift the chest forward. And when you're through with your counter pose, when you feel good, you can bring yourself up to sit in Sukhasana. So this is almost like the constant where we come back to a meditative seat. Sometimes we do it seated, sometimes we do it on our backs, and you can really come into either one if you'd like to lie down. But allowing your hands to come onto your knees when you're ready. Letting your gaze lower or your eyes close. And bringing your attention to the in and out of the breath. Notice any shift or change in energy. Maybe you notice something, maybe not. On your inhale, blinking your eyes open. And we'll come into that same pose on the other side. So I think some of you did your right side first, so you'll be on your left. So you're taking the bolster or foam roller or rolled up blanket and finding your waist and move just above that is where that tip of the roundness of the bolster blanket foam roller will go. Your bottom arm underneath is straight out. You can also bend the elbow, so however it feels good to kind of create a pillow with the arm. So at first you can keep your top arm down for now, and once we're halfway through, if you'd like to extend it, I'll let you know when we're about a few minutes in to the pose. So another thing about yin yoga that you can just consider is that as animals, they don't really hold on to that much emotion within their bodies. They'll, get into a fight with another animal, and survive, right? And they'll run off and they kind of shake themselves out and they release that energy right there and then. But as humans, we hold on to energy and emotions and we don't let them go. And last time I was talking a little bit about the meridian lines and the organs, and those organs also correlate to certain feelings within the body, whether it's anger or sadness or feeling of loss, like they correlate to certain organs. So as we move into these postures, we can also begin to soften and let go of those feelings or those tensions that we hold in the cells of our body. So if you'd like, you can stay here with the top arm down in front of you, or you can begin to reach the top arm overhead. And just let your fingertips kind of touch the bottom ones. So you're not clasping or interlacing, we're not grabbing or holding, or we try not to in yin yoga. Try to let everything be a little bit softer. The engagement is a little bit different when we move into yin. Notice as you reach your arm overhead, if you begin to tense anything in the body, and see if you can just move through a gentle body scan as you soften the muscles. And sometimes that tension might be in the neck or the forehead, and you don't even realize it. Just kind of notice everything and begin to soften. And start to take a nice deep inhale. When you're ready, you can begin to bend that top arm, bring the hand to the floor, and use that to nice and slowly lift yourself up. Remembering to make sure your movements aren't so jerky or quick. Now this time you can come into what we did before. If you want, you can come onto your belly and find a Sphinx pose. So your elbows are under the shoulders. Maybe you'd like to cross the hands and lie down so the head's to the floor. Or option to come into child's pose, sitting back toward the heels, finding a couple cat-cows. Remember, this part is where you choose what you want to do. And on your inhale, when you're ready, you can move into your Sukhasana, your easy seat, wherever you feel comfortable. And the hands can rest in your lap or on your knees. And on your inhale, blinking your eyes open,